Welcome, everybody. This is the Just Keep Reaching show, where we are helping you fulfill your full potential in life and in business by sharing stories, tips, and experiences from those who just keep reaching. My name is Joe Rosner, and each week I will bring you incredible guests in order to show you that we all come from different places, but to fulfill our full potential, we must just keep reaching. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Just Keep Reaching show. I'm here with an incredible guest, John Stevens. John Stevens, he's a military major, just under 16 years retired, deployments to Iraq. His whole family was enlisted into the military, so it's kind of runs in his blood. But the crazy thing is he is one of the most humble individuals that you'll ever meet when you have a conversation. It's almost as if you've known him your whole entire life. Now, not only was he a military, but his wife and him have created such a network and such an online presence in a business. They're both running Millionaire in under 2 years, 3 years running 7-figure income business, top 25 income earners with their company. His wife, Woman of the Year for the entire company. Now, welcome, John. Thank you for hopping on the show. I'm really excited to dive into this with you.
Thanks for having me, man. I'll tell you what, I love the energy. That's the first thing, man. I love it. This gets me going. This is my kind of show, man.
Absolutely. So let's dive in a little bit. So you joined the Marine Corps, and you said your family was a part of that, right? And that was a dream. Can you talk about that a little bit for us?
Oh my goodness. I grew up, and the Marine Corps was it. My uncle was a retired Marine. My grandfather, World War II Marine. I was watching Sands of Iwo Jima as a young boy. I'm singing the Marine hymn. That was literally, no one told me I needed to be a Marine, but at about 6 years old at a Christmas party, I think I told everybody, all the adults, hey, I'm going to be a Marine officer when I grow up. And it was my dream, and I was able to live that out and serve the Marine Corps for just under 16 years.
That's incredible. That's huge. Having the support. Now, you were able to live your dream out, and then when you got out of the military, was it something that was a little difficult for you transitioning, maybe into civilian life, going into network marketing, into that business?
Oh my goodness, it was the toughest decision of my life. I'll tell you that right there. I weighed everything out, and I think as a young single man going into the Marine Corps, it's a lot different than having 4 children, having a wife, and then looking at priorities. And so when I took a look at having the opportunity to retire early through the Marine Corps and being able to be home for my family, which I never got to see, I was deployed or I was gone. I maybe saw my kids 20 minutes a day. I wasn't being the husband and the father I should have been. And when this opportunity came, I think it was the right decision. It was a tough one, but my wife and I talked about it. We prayed about it, and took us for me getting out, and now I get to be a full-time father. I get to be a full-time husband, and I get to do a business with my wife. And so it's really an amazing opportunity for me. So I'm glad that we made the decision, but man, it was tough. Like I said, I was living my dream, but those 4 little kids and my wife, they deserved more from me. And so it was time to focus on them.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah. When family becomes one of the most and the important priority in your life, it makes the decision tough, but at the end of the day, I think you made the right decision. You have a beautiful family. You guys are doing great things. You're helping more people, which is still aligning with your overall intention being in the military to serve, people here on our stateside. Let me ask you, so in your guys' business, how do you just keep reaching every single day? What motivates you to keep going forward?
Wow. You know what I tell you, it's the people. I think when you realize in the business that we're in, that you can help people, whether physically, financially, you can help bring, with the relationships that they haven't been able to have because they're working so many hours, they're not able to be home when they have to put their kids in daycare. When you can see that, and you can help people, that's what gets you up in the morning. When you can see that mom who literally is working so hard, a couple jobs, and just wants to be home with her kids and teach them and just be with them. That's why you wake up, and that's why we do what we do. And when you realize that it is an outward looking profession as opposed to an inward. If you're looking at it for everything it can give you, you're not going to maximize it. But when you can look at all those lives you can reach in all those different areas, that's what's going to wake you up. Because at some point, you're going to be comfortable. If you're successful in this business, you're going to be comfortable. You're going to have what you want. You're going to have a car. You're going to have a house, whatever. But you know what? There's always someone out there that needs you to share an opportunity with them, to mentor them, to feed them like they've never been fed before emotionally or whatever. And that's what gets us up in the morning. That's what drives us. So it's a cool profession. I mean, it's an amazing profession. And it's just like being in the military. I woke up because my guys needed me. And because if I had not been there, someone was not going to be as ready as they could be to go to combat. It's the same thing. I wake up so these people that are on our team that we're partnering with can go out there and maximize their lives.
That's incredible. So would you say the military almost in a way prepared you to enter into this type of situation where you can still lead and help and serve more people?
Oh, 100%. For those who haven't been in the military, the military is a relationship business, 100%. You have different roles, but it is trying to get people, push them to their limits, and to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. It's the same thing here. So I think that being able to work in a group dynamics like you do in the military, work on a team, establish those goals, sit down and help each other. What I learned as an active duty Marine and just those leadership principles, that has transitioned very well into supporting my wife's business. My wife was never in the military. She just took on that leadership role that she had learned through sports and other things. And I was able to bring in my military background and some of the discipline and some of the leadership things and just kind of add on to what she had and hopefully make our business even better and take it to a different level. So yeah, I 100% think that men that are in the military or police force or first responders, they learn something that transitions so well into being entrepreneurs. They do. Military because you are the one that has to, with the self-drive to help others, and that we are so well formed in those professions to be entrepreneurs. Yeah, helped me out so well.
Absolutely. That's amazing. And, as I listen to you talk, you can just see the leadership. You can see the passion behind helping other people and you guys growing the network. Let me ask you this. When you guys got into network marketing, was it something that just kind of fell in your lap? Or was it, how did you guys start network marketing to begin with?
Well, this is a pretty interesting story. Anyone that's ever been in the military, it seems like there are a lot of network marketing opportunities out there, a lot of companies. And so you are introduced to them basically early on in your time in the military. And sometimes you get sick of it. The way we were introduced, specifically, we lived in Spokane, Washington, and some of our best friends had been introduced to a company. And they came to us with an awesome opportunity. Who did they want to help? They wanted to help their friends. They wanted to help us get healthy, wanted to help us get out of debt, wanted to help us just have energy back. And because of we just weren't ready for it. And we said, oh, you know what? I don't want to get into any of those kind of companies. Sorry. And we said no right off the bat. We didn't even want to hear about it. 4 years later and 4 years of watching some of our mentors and best friends in this business, they had become millionaires in their company in the first 3 years. They had totally changed their lives physically, and they just literally changed their life. You saw them living a different life because they were full of energy. They had a purpose. And after about 4 years of that, my wife kind of came to me and said, we're doing this. She'd done all the homework. And at that point, I was getting ready to deploy to the Middle East. And I said, you know what, babe? I respect you, and I know you've done some homework, so let's do this. We're going to give it 2 years, and I'll do everything I can to back you up, and we'll see what happens. And the rest is history. We've actually done pretty well in the 4.5 plus or the 4+ years we've been doing it. But we had never thought we would do network marketing. I never thought I would do business. I never took a business class in college. How's that? How do you graduate from college without taking business? Never thought about it, but God kind of put us in this position, and it totally made sense for my family, and we're here. And I don't look at it as a business. I look at it as an opportunity to lead people to their goals. And so it's kind of crazy how things work out in life.
That's pretty awesome. And I feel like so many people can resonate with that, because there are a lot of network marketing companies out there, and there's a lot of people trying to connect with a lot of people. And it's kind of overwhelming to some people if, maybe it's on Facebook or, even in person, where you get, 3 different companies or 3 different people trying to talk about 3 different products and services. What is one thing that you think kind of made you guys make that decision that pushed you in that direction that was different maybe from some of the other ones? Because I know, you being in the military, you get talked to a lot by a lot of different things like this. What was it with, your guys' company that set it apart, that you guys said, hey, you know what, we're going to do this for 2 years and then see how it goes?
I think the first thing was the culture. We had a glimpse of the culture of the company. And I think if you look at companies, you can see if you're going to fit that company based on their culture. And we really resonated with that culture, a active lifestyle, helping everybody else, just like a team kind of a concept. And that was big. And secondly, it had to do with the products. The products have to work, and it has to be something that people are going to want to use for the rest of their lives. And that was the company that we're with, is a nutrition company. And we literally replace our food budget each month with these amazing products. And so there was a no-brainer for us. But I think culture was huge, though, because you can have great products, but if you don't have that culture that brings you in, that keeps you going in the tough times and the good, and cheers you on, and if everyone's out on their own and not there to support each other, it's going to be tough. And so we looked at it and we were like, this is right. It just felt right. We'd never been looking, but this one just felt like it fit where my wife and I were in our lives. And she ran and she did it, and I watched her while I was on active duty, and then I got out and I joined her. And I can't think of being anywhere else than the company we're in, and just that culture that they have.
That's incredible. I think culture, is extremely important, especially kind of like what you were saying. Everybody is extremely supportive. You hear the term a lot, watch out for the guy that's not clapping when you're winning, right? So when you go into a culture, if everybody's clapping and everybody's supportive, you feel like you're family. It's more of a connection than, just doing something to do something. So that's huge. And I think that's, you guys made a great decision, because I follow you guys quite a bit, and man, you guys are happy all the time. I see your guys' stuff going on. You guys are full of energy. Your family, you got a beautiful family. You're doing things, you're traveling, you got just so much going on. Now, is that easy? How is it balancing the work life with the business and the family at the same time?
Wow. It's it's a challenge, and we've been in this season of time for about 2 years since I got out of the military, and then it switched. We actually moved from Southern California to the Midwest during that time period. So I think we've kind of found our battle rhythm now. But it was tough. It was difficult trying to find where I fit into my wife to the business as I started to take on some more responsibilities. And now I'm home, and there's children, and they got to go here and there, and so balancing that out. And now we even actually have a daughter who she's in a classical education. We have the opportunity now to teach her 2 days and send her to school 2 days, and we've got a 14-month-old. And so it is an ever-changing thing, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, but it takes a lot of communication. And I think the one thing I've learned in the 2 years that I've been out of the Marine Corps with my spouse and my family, it's communication. It's communication across the board with the kiddos, because we travel for business. We take them sometimes. We got to talk to them. But the biggest one is just communication with my wife. And that's how we found, I think, that sweet spot of balance. Now, is it out of balance in some seasons of life? It is. But the communication piece between Laura and me is so essential to our success, first as a married couple, and then as business partners, and as heads of a family. So we're trying for the balance, man. We're getting as close as we can to where we think it should be, but it is ever changing every day, man. Sports. I was just at a volleyball game and a rugby game yesterday, trying to do business stuff. we had to communicate a lot on that one. So
Absolutely. No, I think that's huge. And, one of the things you can probably relate to that kind of rings a bell is you improvise, you adapt, and you overcome, right? Because life is never perfect. I don't believe anybody's perfect, but we always progress forward in incremental stages and steps. And I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job with that based off of kind of what you're talking about, because communication is key, I think, in anything. So when you guys got in with, network marketing and you guys started your business, now, I know initially you said, okay, hey, let's do this for 2 years, right? Let's try this out for 2 years and kind of see where it goes. Now that you're involved in it and you guys are doing very well and you're changing lives daily, what does this look like for your family? Like, is this something that can become a legacy for maybe your kids as they grow up? What does that look like for them?
that's 100% what we're trying to do. Make it a legacy company. In fact, the fact that we have our oldest daughter home 2 days a week and she gets to see us work out of our offices at home, we're able to explain some things to her and why mom and dad are doing certain things and kind of explain entrepreneurship to her. And we've realized that we have the ability to do something most parents can't do and feed their kids in certain areas that they just don't get fed a lot of times. And so I tell you, one of the other big things though too is travel. Because we can travel for work, we can take our kids, we can show them and allow them to experience a lot of places and things that they would not have been able to do had we not been in this industry. And then I guess lastly, we're showing them how to dream. I think a lot of this industry is based on where do you want to go, and let's put that that dream out there or that goal, and let's get it. And we get to show our kids that. We get to show them how to dream. We're trying to break down those artificial boundaries that are put upon our lives by ourselves. And we don't want our kids to grow up like that. So we're trying to take that approach to integrate them in. And when we have big goals that we need to go towards, we get the family together and we say, hey, we are going towards this. That means mom and dad are probably going to be working at times. But you know what? At the end of it, we're going to get to do some cool things. And so I want my kids to experience this, and I want them to go on and I want them to be able to dream and to, if they want to be business, if they want to go into network marketing, do whatever. I want to establish that. I don't want to leave any stone unturned when it comes to bringing them up and teaching them things. And so, yeah, this is a legacy. This is a legacy company because we're teaching them right now, and hopefully it pays off generationally and kind of changing the way that I wasn't brought up. And it's something that excites me that my kids can think about things that I never even dreamt of. So it's pretty amazing.
That's incredible. The opportunity that they have is just astronomical. And I'm a firm believer that, and a lot of research is out there that we get our beliefs, around the ages, in between 8 and 10 years old. And those are things that we spend the rest of, our years into adulthood trying to justify why we believe those things. And then, depending on how we were brought up, like what you said, you don't want to leave any stones unturned. And I think that is so crucial because you're leaving the decisions up to them, but also showing that possibilities are literally endless. And I think that is key because I know when I grew up that, one of the things is, around money, like my money mindset was not where it needed to be. My family wasn't super rich. We grew up in a small town, and those things I believed for a long time, and they actually impacted the way, I thought about certain things. But you're changing the game with that. You're actually showing, your kids that there are no limits to what they can do, who they can help, and how many people they can serve on a regular basis. And you're leading the way from the front. That's incredible.
Thanks, man. I mean, that money mindset thing you just brought up is probably one of the most important things that we as adults have to deal with. And you're right. If we can teach our kids the right ways at a young age, and they won't be affected by that, man, I tell you what, it pumps me up to think about the possibilities. But thanks, man. Yeah, hey, it starts with your home, right? I can affect so many people here, but if I can't teach and mentor these children in my house, then I think I've failed, and I'm trying to do that. And that's, again, one of those priorities when I wake up. how am I going to teach my kids something today?
Absolutely. So now where you're at with your business, let me ask you this. What's the next level for you? Where do you go from here? What's the next step?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. So I was asked this. I think I was on a panel at one of the trainings that the company had in Chicago, and somebody threw up there a monetary. So what's your next monetary goal in this and this and this? And, I think that if you flip it around and say, how many people am I going to reach this year? How many families am I going to affect this year? How many people are going to partner with us? That's when that question gets fun. You can say, hey, I want to make $500,000 more a year. That doesn't make any sense. That's not emotional to me. But when I can partner with a family to pull that wife out of that job that she hates and she can't see her kids and get and allow them to have the opportunity to make enough money to replace that income, that's pretty cool. And so where are we going to take this next? I just, right now it's reaching more families. It's being able to share the opportunity that blessed us. And then I think for me personally, I really want to concentrate on military entrepreneurs. Those guys, and you and I have had the discussion on the military and entrepreneurs. I really believe that those guys leaving the military after 4 years or 16 years or 20 years, this type of industry is great for them. And I want to concentrate on that. I want to build a group of guys like-minded that need culture when they come out, that need a team when they come out, because that's all they've had for the past how many years. And I want to do that and help them because I've got a heart for military families. I've got a heart for just what they do, especially the spouses and the kids and the things that they have to put up with when knuckleheads like me go on deployment and worry about something else. And so I really want to concentrate on military families, military entrepreneurs. I want to do something big with those guys because, man, we got some bright stars that are wearing that uniform and they're getting out and they've got the tools to do something great. And, just like you, man, you're doing great things. And it's amazing to see fellow combat guys, just like brothers in arms that are just doing great things to help people. And that's where I want to go. I personally want to focus on that. My wife has some other bigger goals that she's doing from the business side, but I want to help military families, military entrepreneurs.
I think that's incredible because that relates directly even to me when I got out. One of the things that, it was almost in a way of feeling missionless, right? Not knowing what direction to go. Like, where do I go from here? I was used to, being a part of a team on a regular basis. We eat together, we sleep together, we shower, like we do everything together and we accomplish great things and we serve at the highest level. But when you get out and you're alone, you feel like there's a part that's missing. And for me, I think one of the things that pushed me forward was Operation Rebound, Mission Continues, right? I started working with those nonprofit companies, helping amputees with stability, mobility, and that gave me purpose again. That was bigger than myself. And I think that helped me align. But if I didn't have that, where, I don't know where I would be. I think so with you really aiming to help military, combat vets and military come out to do something great because they have the tools, they have the leadership skills. I think that's something special in itself because I don't think enough people do it. So I think that's amazing because that would have been something for me when I was getting out. I would have been like, let's do it. I'll follow you. Let's go. So that's incredible. Let me ask you this: with your business and it's being online and you guys have traveled so much, would you say that location matters with your business? Does that affect the ability from you starting it, or what are your thoughts on that?
So I get that question a fair amount of time because people are like, yeah, I'm not in a place that has my ability to grow my business. I think just like anything else, you need to take a look at where your strengths are going to be. And so some people, they build on social media, and there's no state boundaries on social media. You can connect with with a lot of people all over the world. That's like us. When we started with our company, we weren't specifically local. We were all across the nation just because the fact that we moved around a lot. So we saw that as an opportunity and we exploited it. So what I think that location does not matter unless you put yourself in a box, and you should get out of that box. I think that I think local community is big? Heck yeah. Go out and go to a networking group, go to Toastmasters, go to the Chamber of Commerce, join a men's group, go to the gym, lift some weights, meet people local. I think that's huge. I think community is huge locally. But do I think if you are in a place that maybe doesn't have the advantages that some other people do where they live, is that going to stop you? No, it's not going to stop you. You have the ability to grow your business, especially with social media. You can grow it and you can do it that way. You just probably have to change your method on how you do it and going forward. But we went from Southern California to the Midwest, two totally different places. And let me just tell you, on a lot of levels. But I think what we did is we found out what people wanted in each of those places. We still worked our social media aspects when it comes to across the country, but locally we just kind of changed the way that we operated to kind of fit and attract the people in that area. We didn't change our values or our beliefs. No, we did not do that. But what we did is we just changed our methods to grow our business. And you know what? It took us probably 2 years in our new spot, trying until we started, maybe about a year and a half, until we found some really good roots in the business locally here in the Midwest. And so somebody out there that's saying, hey, I can't do it here, you can do it. You just got to keep trying, build other ways also, and try to get as much of a feel for that local, what it takes to build locally, but still do the social media aspect and grow globally. So, but hope that answers that question.
Absolutely. No, I think, yeah, absolutely. You guys have traveled, from Southern California to the Midwest. If that was the case, it would have, had a negative effect. You guys moving to the Midwest, to maybe a smaller town versus living in California, right? Where it's extremely populated and there's plenty of different people and culture around. So yeah, I think that's huge. Being online, there's 7 billion people on this planet and we can reach every one of them. So I think you guys set it up in a way. Let me ask you this though. Is there a routine for you guys? Like when you wake up in the morning, do you guys have routines? Especially, being a father, being, a Marine, and having all of these things going on in your guys' life. What does a routine look like for you guys?
Wow. I tell you, that goes back to the communication piece. I'll tell you that, because you want to talk about two extremes. I was a Marine and I was at my desk at 6 and I was doing this and that and I was up, and then my wife does not adhere to as rigid of a schedule. I'll say it that way. And so it's taken a lot of communication. And I think we've learned from a lot of our mentors in this industry about how to best establish a routine that both of you can live in and not hate. Because, if you hate your routine, you're not going to adhere to it. And so we talk about it. We have small little meetings throughout the week. We have a big one we try to do on Sunday nights to see what's coming up throughout the next week. But to tell you the truth, depending on what's going on with the kids, because at the end of the day, the kids need us first, and we move our business around that. We will establish kind of that battle rhythm on who's doing what with the kids and who has their office time and who's, depending on if somebody's got to watch our 14-month-old and, the other person's doing the business. And so our routine changes, I guess. We'll tell you, we have those things that are non-negotiable. We do our daily devotions and our spiritual things. We work out, and we make sure our kids are safe and where they should be, and then we fit our business into the pockets throughout our schedule. So, but to tell you that we do the same thing each day would be not truthful. But that goes back to that communication piece. It changes. And what's interesting on that too, if you do get out of, and I'll just tell people that are listening, if you do get out of your schedule, it's not bad. It may show you opportunities of to that are better than the ones that you're in now. And so my wife is actually going to start a pretty big tour around the country with one of her mentors, and I'm going to take on a couple more responsibilities at home. And I think that I'm looking at it as an opportunity to be able to both pour into my kids more, but then have different opportunities to see what works for me business wise while she's gone, doing certain things and doing things at different times. And so, yeah, there's no set schedule per se that we establish unless we talk about it, high five and say, I love you, good night, we'll see you in the morning. And then we execute when the kids are up. So that's the way it is. It fluctuates.
That's amazing. I think it's incredible. And there's one thing that I notice that you say so often, and it's opportunity. And I love that because you always say things as opportunity. And I think more people need to look at things that way. You can see the light or you can see the dark. And with you saying, opportunity, you clearly see the light and you're trying to be the light every single day. And even if, like you said, with your routine, how it can shift and it can move in maybe a direction and not go as planned, right? Every plan generally can have a hiccup. But it's almost like if you're driving and you get lost and all of a sudden you notice that one little diner that's like the prime dining spot that you've never would have found unless you gotten lost. And now you go there regularly. So I think that's huge. And I love your honesty with, saying, communication is going to be key and things will always change. It's never the same because I think people fall into that rut and it holds them back. Let me ask you this. What's one thing, or a couple of things that you would say to somebody wanting to start, an online business or get into network marketing? What piece of encouragement you would tell them?
Oh, wow. One piece of encouragement. Well, I'll tell you what, the thing that I think is 100% true, because I've seen it with so many people, that if you want to do something, you're going to find a way to do it. Like if you feel strongly enough and the reason you are doing it is so strong and you're emotionally tied to it, you're going to do it. So I don't care what company you go with. If you want to do it and you want to succeed and you push towards it and you hold that as an anchor in why you're doing it, and that's our team is that we have started is called Team Anchored, and we want everyone to know what's that anchor, what's that thing that keeps you grounded, that you want to keep going, that's going to motivate you when you're tired, you're sick. So I think that's it. And so people starting out, if you want to do it, do it. And in the military, that at the end of the day, it's like, I'm going to get this done no matter what because I have to. And you find a way to do it. And I think it's very similar in this profession. I also think that, do your homework on companies. I talked about culture before. I think culture is huge. I think that if you can find alignment on what company you're joining with and the products that they have or the opportunity that they have, and it aligns with you, I think it's going to be huge. It's going to allow you to be more vested in that product or service that they are joining up with. Because I know if we were not joined up on something we believed in, it would be really tough for me to go out and share it. But then when it's tough and you need to do certain things to rise up to the occasion. So yeah, set your goals, put it on the board, write it everywhere in your house, put it on your mirror, put it on your steering wheel, go for it, because the only limitation is you. And then secondly, when you're looking for companies, if you're starting out, make sure that company aligns with who you are, and then go for it and put the pedal to the metal and go literally your life dependent on it. And things are going to be good because momentum is awesome. Exploit success. I'm a maneuver warfare guy. When you get success, you put all of your assets into it, you reinforce success, momentum takes over, and then you're rolling. So that would be my recommendation.
I love that. When you have momentum, you reinforce and you keep going and you ride it and you just keep pushing.
Yes.
That's incredible. No, that's huge. And you guys have a massive team. You guys have, so many people that you're impacting with Team Anchor. I see it all over the place. And it's funny because, not necessarily funny, I think it's crazy because I saw it and I was thinking to myself, what is that? I started seeing these and then I see more and more. And then I was like, oh, that's their team. That's who they're connected with. But there's one thing that's in common, no matter what, when you look at every single person across the board, whether it's you guys or whether it's somebody on your team. and it's the energy and the happiness. And I think that is something that aligns with you guys so well. And I think it has to be a part of the culture you guys are creating within your guys' company, because you don't see that too often. There's a lot of negativity out there, and it's just a fresh of breath air when I get to see that stuff floating around across my newsfeed on a regular basis.
Well, you know what? I think when you hit it with energy, same thing with your podcast, man, and the way you live your life. People are attracted to you because your energy, man. Who wants to turn on somebody or listen to somebody or follow somebody that is not just like you don't want to gravitate towards? I mean, like that just doesn't make sense. And so I think that as leaders, and if you join a network marketing company, you become a leader. You're going to have a team. You're going to partner with people. I'm not saying don't be somebody you're not, but try to find a way to put that energy out there, because that's what people want in life. I think there's a lot of people who literally want to stop living that same life, and they want something that draws them in, that they can go force and they can link arms with people. And that's it. I think it's the energy. And so just like you, on the way you roll, man, we try to roll with those same beliefs and foundation, like core values that we have, but then we try to like have fun. And when, we work hard, we have fun together, and we enjoy each other. And it's crazy we get to work together. A lot of times we'll be at dinners together as a team, and I say, how cool is it that we all get to sit here enjoying this meal together as business partners who like each other? And so that's the culture we're trying to build, man. And I tell you what, I think that's a successful team when you can sit there and you like the people you work with. So
yeah, that's incredible, because I don't really even have words for that. I mean, it's hard to find, a group of people that you can enjoy hanging around with that are actually, a business partner to you, and it's a fun environment. So when you wake up in the morning, is every morning the same? Is every morning easy to get out of bed? And this is for those listeners out there who maybe might be going through, maybe a tough situation, some things going on right now. What would you say to them, especially being in your spot? And I know a lot of people look at it, and maybe some people say it's luck. Maybe some people say, oh, he kind of fell into this, or they fell into this thing. But what would you say to that? Do you wake up every morning, butterflies and rainbows, or, are some days kind of off?
Oh my goodness. There are days it's tougher to get out of bed than others, but it's that the responsibility you have to all of the people that rely on you. And I'll go back to this too, being able to know that there's someone out there that's eventually going to join your team that needs this so much. But yeah, it's tough to get out of bed. Sometimes it's -11. I know you live somewhere where it gets cold in the winter. It is tough to get out of bed at times. But I think if you put it into perspective, I'm a firm believer in goal setting. I think if you're going to be successful in this industry or in life, you've got to have goals. I mean, where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? And I think waking up each day, you need to sit there and go, am I doing what I'm doing right now? Is it getting me closer to where I want to be, the thing that I want so badly? And that's what gets you out of bed, I think. Those kids, am I sacrificing to make a better life for those kids? Am I doing something that's going to get me closer to that dream, that thing that I want, that I work so hard for? So yeah, it's tough to get out of bed some days, but you know what? When you're out and you're doing it, and then at the end of the day, when you put your head on the pillow, I mean, what did you do? Did you get better? I mean, just get better. Just get better. One thing. So when I was a battery commander in 11th Marine Regiment, and my motto was win the day, because there was so much stuff going on. I just wanted to win the day. I just wanted to win the day. I think I stole that from Nike or the Oregon Ducks or somebody, but at the end of the day, if you can put your head on the pillow and you won the day, there was a lot of wins and a lot of losses throughout, but at the end of the day, if I won, it was successful. And so just go out there and win the day. Just win it.
I agree with that 100%. I always use the term, master your day, master your week, master your month, master your year, master your life. And it's increment steps just like that. So that's huge. Let me ask you this. If people are looking for you, if people want to follow you, if people want to, get that support, if people want that inspiration that you guys provide, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can look at us at www.livelifeanchored.com. And then you can follow us on Instagram. My wife is at Laura Stevens08, and I am at StevensJM5 on Instagram. And then we're also on Facebook. Yeah, it's one of those things that we've had some success, but we know there's more out there. Kind of like you. You don't know what it is at times, but there's more. And I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to do something big. I can't even tell you what it is, but there's just that yearning in our heart to do something huge, to either give back something huge or to start something huge beyond what we've done. I think both what you and I are doing here is just the start, man. I mean, I'm excited to see where Laura and our business is going to go, because it's beyond network marketing. I think it's going to be affecting lives in so many ways. So that's how you can connect with us and send us some feedback. Tell us what you think. And I'm excited, man. As you can see, it's go out there and do good things. I'm also a firm believer too. If good and nice people work hard, good things happen, and that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we all know, the truth to living is giving first.
Oh yeah.
And I think you guys literally live that day in and day out with everybody that you connect with. Now, I really appreciate your time. I know you're super busy. I know you got a lot going on. You have more kids than I got. That's, it's sometimes, when I communicate with people, they have 1 or 2 kids. We were blessed with 3 at a time, but you have more. You got, a big business going on, a lot of responsibility. I love the enthusiasm, love the motivation, love, the Marine Corps spirit behind what you got going on and want to impact so many people, especially military veterans that are coming out, that want to make a difference in this world and still want to stand for something bigger than themselves. So thank you again for all of your time hopping on here. I really look forward to connecting with you more in the future with everything going on, and keep doing the great things and just keep reaching every single day. And remember, lead from the heart.
Thanks, man. We'll see you, buddy.